Amara Kendall sat in Atlanta's Superior Court, her tailored suit crisp, facing a $30 traffic fine. Judge Whitaker sneered from the bench, calling her girl and joking she probably stole the car. The courtroom chuckled. Amara stayed cool, paid up, and stepped out. In the parking lot, her phone buzzed. An NCSA alert flagged Whitaker's name tied to a militia plot. Her fine was no accident. It was a trap. This small moment would spark a war. What had Amara walked into? Before we dive deeper, let me know where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, hit that like button and subscribe, because tomorrow's episode is one you won't want to miss. Stay tuned to see how this unfolds. Amara Kendall gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles tight as she sped from the Atlanta courthouse, the sting of Judge Whitaker's words still burning. Girl. Stole the car. The courtroom's laughter echoed in her skull, but that NCSA alert, Whitaker's, name tied to a militia, gnawed deeper. This wasn't just a racist jab, it was a calculated move. She glanced at her phone, the encrypted message blinking, Sons of Liberty, weapons cache, Whitaker's funding. Her pulse raced. As head of the National Civil Security Agency, she'd spent 10 years dismantling threats in shadows, her identity buried to shield her daughter, Tiana. Now, someone had aimed right at her. She pulled into a gas station, splashing cold water. On her face, the mirror showing a bruise under her eye. Not from fists yet, just exhaustion. She couldn't go home yet. Tiana was safe with her aunt, but Whitaker's game demanded answers. Her cover as a low-key consultant, a single mom scraping, was crumbling. She needed proof. Fast. The NCSA's Atlanta safe house sat tucked behind a derelict warehouse, its steel door hidden under graffiti. Amara slipped inside, the hum of servers greeting her like an old friend. She logged into the secure terminal, her fingers flying over keys, pulling files on Whitaker. 60 years old, silver hair, a judge with 30 years on the bench. He'd climbed by charming elites and crushing defendants, especially black ones. Her screen flashed. Wire transfers to a shell company, coded emails to a Sons of Liberty. Captain named Boone. She cross-referenced satellite feeds. Trucks moving crates at a rural compound 90 miles north. Weapons, heavy ones. Whitaker wasn't just a bigot, he was bankrolling chaos. Amara's jaw tightened. If she exposed him, he'd fall hard, but one wrong step could blow her cover, or worse, reach Tiana. She printed the files, stuffed them in her bag, and made a call. "Marcus," she said to her deputy, voice low, "need a paralegal ID stat. I'm going in." By noon, Amara stood outside Whitaker's chambers in the Fulton County Courthouse, her fake badge clipped to a borrowed blazer. The paralegal ruse was thin, but her NCSA training, disguises, evasion, made it work. She'd posed as worse to infiltrate cartels. The hallway buzzed with clerks, none sparing her a glance, her dark skin blending into their blind spots. She knocked, slipping inside when a secretary waved her through. Whitaker's office reeked of polish and power, mahogany desk, law books, a framed Confederate flag pin on a shelf. Her stomach churned, but she moved fast, rifling drawers. Nothing. But pens, dockets. Then under a false bottom she found it. A leather ledger. Pages scrawled with dates, sums, initials. SOL, Sons of Liberty. Her fingers trembled as she snapped photos, uploading them to her encrypted drive. This was gold. Proof Whitaker. Funneled cash to arm a militia. She could end him. Footsteps thudded outside. Amara froze, shoving the ledger back, but the door swung open. Whitaker loomed, his pale eyes narrowing. "You," he spat, voice like gravel. "What's a girl like?" "You doing here?" The slur from court hung heavy, his smirk daring her to flinch. Her pulse hammered, but she straightened, clutching her fake clipboard. "Delivering filings, sir," she said, voice steady. He stepped closer, breath sour with coffee. "Don't belong here, do you? Snooping where you shouldn't." Before she could pivot, he nodded to the hall. 2 deputies stormed in, meaty hands grabbing her arms. "Thief!" Whitaker hissed, though she'd taken nothing physical. The deputies didn't ask questions. One, a red-faced man with a buzz cut, slammed her against the wall, her ribs screaming as his elbow dug in. "Teach her a lesson," Whitaker said, turning away like she was trash. The second deputy, younger, hesitated but followed orders, twisting her wrist till it burned. She bit back a cry, refusing to give them that. They dragged her to a service exit, the courthouse's underbelly, concrete stairs, flickering lights. Buzzcut landed a fist to her side, pain exploding like a cracked dam. "Stay out of white folks' business," he growled, his accent thick, rural. She gasped, vision blurring, but memorized his badge. Carter number 374. The younger one shoved her toward the alley, muttering, "Get lost or worse." Amara stumbled, catching herself on a dumpster, her blazer torn, blood trickling from her lip. She limped to her car, parked 2 blocks away, the ledger's photos safe in her cloud. Her ribs throbbed with every breath, but she grinned through the pain. She'd gotten what she came for. Whitaker thought he'd scared her off. He'd misjudged her steel. She drove, checking mirrors for tails, her mind racing. She'd decrypt those initials, trace the money, and bury him. By dusk, she'd be home, Tiana's laughter washing this filth away. The sun dipped low, painting Atlanta's skyline orange as Amara pulled into her quiet street, a row of modest bungalows where she'd raised Tiana alone. Her house sat at the end, white shutters, a porch swing Tiana loved. She exhaled, picturing her daughter's smile, 16, all fire and dreams, unaware of Amara's double life. She'd keep it that way. Stepping out, she froze. Her front door hung ajar, wood splintered around the lock. Her breath caught, gun drawn from her ankle holster, a habit from NCSA field days. She crept forward, scanning windows, curtains still, no shadows. Inside, the living room was untouched, couch cushions neat, TV off. Her gut twisted. She climbed the stairs, each creak loud as a gunshot. Tiana's room was second on the left, its door shut. She pushed it open, and her heart stopped. This wall screamed hate. Red spray paint bled across Tiana's posters, slurs no mother should read, jagged letters spelling monkeys and trash, worse. Her daughter's bed was slashed, stuffing spilling like guts. A broken lamp lay in shards, glitter from Tiana's art projects ground into the carpet. Amara's knees buckled, her gun shaking in her hand. Tiana wasn't here, safe at her aunt's, thank God. But this was no random hit. The paint was fresh, fumes stinging her nose. Whitaker's deputies hadn't just roughed her up, they'd followed her, struck her core. She sank to the floor, clutching Tiana's torn sketchbook, its pages of sunflowers now smeared with hate. Her phone buzzed, Marcus checking in. "I'm fine," she lied, voice hoarse. She didn't tell him about the house. Not yet. Amara stood, wiping tears, the ledger's weight heavy in her bag. She'd thought she'd outsmarted Whitaker, slipping past his radar with proof to burn him, but they'd been steps ahead, watching her move, knowing her home. The deputy's fists were just the start. This was war. She snapped photos of the damage, each click fueling her rage. She'd call a locksmith, board up the door, keep Tiana away. Her ribs ached, her lips stung, but those slurs on the wall cut deepest. Whitaker wanted her broken, scared, silent. She holstered her gun, eyes hard as flint. He'd learned she didn't break. She locked the house, checking the street, empty for now. Back in her car, she opened the ledger's photos, zooming on initials, RBTC SOL. Boone was one, Whitaker another. She'd traced them all. Her fingers hovered over her NCSA app, ready to pull satellite feeds, bank records, anything to nail them. The vandalism was a message. Stop digging. But Amara Kendall didn't stop. She'd bury Whitaker, his militia, his money. She started the engine, the night swallowing her taillights. They'd hit her home, her daughter's sanctuary. They'd pay in ways they couldn't imagine. Amara Kendall hunched over her laptop in a dim motel room, the glow casting shadows across her bruised face. Her ribs ached from the deputy's fists, her lip still raw, but the ledger photos burned brighter than pain. Tiana was safe at her aunt's, oblivious to the slurs defacing her room. Amara hadn't told her yet. She'd boarded up the house, hired a locksmith, but sleep wasn't an option. Whitaker's ledger held answers, and she'd crack it before his militia struck again. Her fingers danced across keys, decrypting initials. RB, Roland Boone, Sons, of Liberty thug. TC, Thomas Carter, the buzz-cut deputy who'd cracked her ribs. The big one, SOL, tied to a police union's slush fund. Whitaker wasn't just funding guns, he was arming cops to play dirty. Her pulse quickened. This could topple him. She sipped burnt coffee, the motel's cheap brew, and hacked deeper. Bank records showed transfers, 50,000 here, 80. There, routed through a shell called Liberty Holdings. Whitaker's signature was nowhere, but the union's president, a crony named Hargrove, had signed off. Amara's NCSA clearance gave her access to sealed audits. Hargrove's union had bought surplus military gear, riot shields, tear gas, for training. Training for what? She cross-checked Boone's emails, snagged from a dark web leak. One line chilled her. Judge says green light when church march hits. Atlanta's biggest black church, Mount Zion, was marching for voting rights in 3 days. Her stomach knotted. Whitaker wasn't just a racist judge, he was planning blood. Amara leaned back, the chair creaking, her mind racing. Exposing this could stop a massacre, but her name couldn't touch it. NCSA's secrecy was ironclad, her life and Tiana's tethered to it. She needed a proxy, someone with reach. Her old college friend, Lena Stokes, now a journalist at the Atlanta Beacon, fit the bill. Lena had broken stories on cop corruption, never flinched at threats. Amara encrypted the ledger scans, union audits, and Boone's email, bundling them with a note. No source, no questions, run it. She sent it from a burner account, routing through proxies in 3 countries. By dawn, she'd ditched the motel, checking into another under a fake name, her gun heavy in her purse. She waited, refreshing Lena's news site every hour. At noon, it hit. The Beacon's headline screamed, "Judge tied to militia cash, police union scam." Lena's story laid it bare. Ledger sums, union gear, Boone's name, no mention of Mount Zion to avoid panic. Social media exploded, hashtags trending. Whitaker scandal, justice for Atlanta. TV pundits replayed Whitaker's old rulings, digging up clips of him sneering at black defendants. Protesters swarmed the courthouse, chanting for his robe. Amara watched from a diner, her hoodie low, a smile tugging her lips. Lena had nailed it. Whitaker's face flashed on screen, pale, dodging cameras as he left his office. The union's Hargrove issued a denial, but it sounded hollow. Amara sipped her coffee, warmth spreading through her. She'd hit him where it hurt. His name, his power. The church march would be safe now. She texted Tiana a heart emoji, promising to call soon. For the first time in days, she exhaled. Would you stand up to a corrupt judge like Amara? Drop a 1 in the comments if you'd fight back, and hit that like button to show some love. Don't forget to subscribe. We're unraveling this conspiracy together. She drove home, the city buzzing with protest chants audible through her cracked window. Atlanta felt alive, righteous. She parked, imagining Tiana's laugh when she'd tell her they were winning. Her phone pinged. Marcus, her deputy, checking in. "Good work," she typed, vague but grateful. The street was quiet, her boarded-up door a grim reminder, but she felt untouchable. Whitaker was bleeding out, his empire cracking. She unlocked the door, stepped inside, and froze. Red and blue lights pulsed through her curtains. Sirens wailed close, too close. Tires screeched outside, boots thudded, and her heart slammed against her ribs. The door burst open, splintering what the locksmith had fixed. 5 cops stormed in, guns drawn, shouting, "Down, now!" Amara raised her hands, mind racing. Her NCSA badge was hidden, useless. Tiana's scream pierced the air. She'd snuck home, hiding upstairs. "Mama!" she cried, as a cop yanked her down, zip-tying her wrists. Amara's knees hit the floor, a barrel at her temple. "Amara Kendall!" the lead cop barked, a wiry man with a scar. "You're under arrest for hacking federal servers, theft and drug trafficking." Her gut lurched. Drugs, hacking. She'd sent data to Lena, nothing more. The scarred cop smirked, pulling a baggie of white powder from her couch cushion, planted fresh, not there an hour ago. Tiana sobbed, her braids swinging as they shoved her against the wall. "She didn't do anything." Amara's voice cracked, pleading, "Let her go, she's a kid." The cop ignored her, radioing for backup. Neighbors peered from windows, phones recording, but no one stepped in. Amara's eyes locked on Tiana's, whispering, "Stay strong, baby." They cuffed her, the metal biting her wrists, and dragged her outside. A crowd gathered, murmurs of setup drowned by sirens. At the precinct, the scarred cop tossed her into an interrogation room, concrete walls cold as death. She sat, hands trembling, replaying the raid, the drugs, the charges. They stank of Whitaker. He'd seen the exposé, struck back faster than she'd dreamed. The door creaked open. Whitaker stepped in, no robe, just a tailored suit and that same smug grin from court. "Thought you'd play hero," he said, voice low, venomous. "You people always overreach." Her blood boiled. He didn't know her NCSA role, but he knew she'd leaked the files. The scarred cop Carter leaned against the wall, cracking his knuckles. "Found your prints on the drugs," Whitaker lied, tossing a forged report on. "Other table. Felony charges, hacking, theft, possession, 20 years if they stuck." Amara's throat tightened, but she held his gaze, silent. He wanted her to beg. She wouldn't. He leaned close, breath hot with mint. "Your girl's next if you don't confess." Tiana's face flashed, scared, cuffed. Amara's nails dug into her palms, drawing blood. She'd exposed his cache, shamed him on TV, but he'd flipped the board, painting her as a black criminal. Mastermind. The precinct hummed outside. Cops typing lies, radios crackling. Her NCSA cover held barely. One call to Marcus could blow it, but that had risked Tiana worse. Whitaker straightened, smirking like he'd won. "See you in court," he said, leaving her cuffed to the chair, Carter slamming the door. She stared at the forged report, its ink mocking her. This was no fine, no vandalism. This was a cage built to break her. What would you do if your truth got twisted into a lie? Commenter 1 if you'd keep fighting, and smash that like button to back Amara's grit. Subscribe now, her next move's a game changer. Can she claw her way out before Whitaker tightens the noose? Amara Kendall sat on a steel bench in Fulton County Jail, the air thick with bleach and despair. Her wrists stung from cuffs, her mind replaying Tiana's screams as cops dragged them both from their home. The planted drugs. Whitaker's forged. Report. 20 years loomed like a guillotine. She'd been processed at dawn, stripped of her belt, her dignity, and shoved into an orange jumpsuit. The guard, a squat woman with a pinched face, had sneered, "Big shot, huh?" Not here. Amara's NCSA role was her ace, but flashing it now would torch her cover, painting a bigger target on Tiana, still shaken at her aunts. She kept her mouth shut, eyes scanning the cell block. Rusted bars, flickering bulbs, women. Curled on thin mats, some staring, some muttering. Her ribs throbbed from the deputy's beating 2 days ago, each breath a knife twist, but she stood tall. Whitaker thought he'd broken her. He'd learn. The guard's keys jangled, signaling. Intake's end. Amara was herded to a holding pen, concrete walls slick with grime. A strip search came first, gloved hands probing, the guard barking, "Spread 'em, Kendall!" Her cheeks burned, not from shame, but rage. The guard's smirk screamed Whitaker's influence. He'd spread word she was trouble. "Heard you're some NCSA hotshot," the guard said, tossing Amara's jumpsuit back. "Bullshit. You're just another loudmouth." Amara froze. How did they know? Her cover was buried under layers of feds-only encryption. Someone high up had talked, or Whitaker's reach was deeper than she'd feared. She dressed, jaw tight, and was shoved into general population, the cell block a roar of shouts and clanging gates. Eyes followed her, hostile, curious, predatory. She kept her head up, memorizing faces, exits, cameras. By noon, she was in the foe. Yard, a cracked asphalt square ringed by chain link and razor wire. Atlanta's sun baked her scalp, sweat stinging her split lip. She stuck to the edges, watching cliques form, black women by the benches, Latinas near the wall, whites claiming the shade. A wiry inmate, mid-30s, gold tooth glinting, sidled up. "You the one messed with Whitaker?" she asked, voice low. Amara nodded, wary. "Name's Shay. He's got friends here." Before Amara could respond, 3 women approached. 2 white, 1 black, all thick with muscle. The black one, her, braids tight, smirked. "Judge says hi." Amara's gut clenched. Whitaker's bribes had reached inmates fast. The fight erupted without warning. Braids swung first, her fist grazing Amara's jaw. Amara ducked, years of NCSA training kicking in. Pivot, strike, evade. She landed a knee to Braid's gut, dropping her gasping. The white women charged, one wielding a shiv, a jagged spoon handle, glinting deadly. Amara sidestepped, grabbing the woman's wrist, twisting until the shiv clattered free. The second grabbed her hair, yanking hard, but Amara spun, elbow cracking the woman's nose. Blood sprayed, the crowd cheering, guards watching too slow. Then Braids was up, shiv in hand, slashing Amara's arm. Pain seared, blood soaking her sleeve, but she didn't falter. She tackled Braids, pinning her, fist raised, then froze as whistles blew. Guards rushed in, batons high, screaming, "Break it up!" Amara stepped back, hands raised, her arm dripping red. The infirmary was a joke. Gauze, no stitches, a nurse, who barely looked at her. "Lucky it's shallow," the nurse muttered, tossing her a bandage. Amara's arm burned, but her mind was on the attack. Whitaker hadn't just framed her. He'd bought inmates to kill her. The gold-tooth woman. Shay had warned her. Maybe an ally, maybe a trap. Back in the cell block, whispers spread. Kendall fought 3 and walked. Respect flickered in some eyes, but danger clung like damp air. That night the guards hit harder. "Troublemaker," the squat one barked, slamming Amara into solitary, a 6x8 box. No light, no sound, just a bucket and a cot. The door clanged shut, her bandage itching, blood crusting. She sat knees up, breathing slow to stay sane. Whitaker wanted her buried. She'd dig out, solitary stretched, hours bleeding into days. Amara counted breaths, replayed the ledger's codes, RB, TC Soaline to keep sharp. On day 3, voices echoed through the vent. Guards sloppy, thinking she couldn't hear. "Whitaker says loser in transfer," one grunted. "Upstate, no record." Her blood ran cold. Lose her meant dead, staged escape, shot fleeing. Or worse, vanished in transit. She had to move. Tiana's face flashed, 16, all fire, needing her mom. Amara scratched at the cot's frame, finding a loose screw, palming it. Small, but a start. She'd need more than steel to break free. Day 7, the door opened. Shay stood there, bribed guard behind her, looking away. "Your kid's got pull," Shay whispered. Amara's heart leapt. Tiana had reached Marcus, her NCSA deputy. She'd coded a message in their last call, a throwaway line about Aunt's pie. Marcus had read it, moved fast. Bail posted, anonymous, $10,000. The guard uncuffed her, muttering, "Don't come back." Amara stepped into dawn, the jail's gate slamming behind her. Her arm was bandaged, her ribs screamed, but she was out. She hugged Shay quick, no words, just gratitude. A cab waited, prepaid, whisking her to a safe house Marcus had set. She sank into the seat, grinning. Whitaker's hit had failed. She'd regroup, strike back, keep Tiana safe. Freedom tasted sweet. The cab rolled through Atlanta, skyscrapers glinting, her mind mapping next steps. Hack Whitaker's accounts, trace the shiv's buyer. She patted her pocket, empty but alive. The driver glanced back, silent. She didn't notice his eyes linger too long. At a red light, she leaned back, exhaling, the safe house 10 minutes out. Then a click, her door locked. Her instincts screamed, hand reaching for a gun that wasn't there. The driver floored it, veering off course, a phone pressed to his ear. "Got her," he said. Amara's breath caught, eyes darting, road signs blurring, no weapon, no phone. The safe house faded as tires screeched toward an industrial park. Warehouses looming like tombs. She lunged for the door, locked tight, the driver's arm swinging back, something glinting. A syringe. No, a blade. She twisted, dodging, her wounded arm slowing her. The cab stopped hard, gravel crunching, and she kicked the window, cracked, not broke. Men's voices outside, boots heavy, circling. Her pulse thundered, blood roaring in her ears. Then a boom. Her car, parked blocks away, exploded. the fireball lighting the dawn sky, glass raining like shrapnel. She dove low, glass cutting her cheek, the driver cursing as he bailed. Amara crawled, gasping, the blast's heat singeing her neck. Whitaker hadn't just locked her up, he'd rigged her grave. Amara Kendall crouched in an alley, the car bomb's heat still prickling her skin, her cheek stinging from glass cuts. Atlanta's dawn skyline glowed orange, but the warehouse lot where the cab driver had ditched her was a maze of shadows. Her arm bled through its bandage. Her ribs screamed with every move, but she was alive, barely. The explosion had shattered her sedan, parked blocks away, a kill shot meant for her. Whitaker's reach was a noose tightening fast. She patted her pockets. Nothing but lint, her gun and phone lost in jail. The driver was gone, his blade glinting in her memory, his words, "Got her," echoing. She needed a plan now. Her safe house was compromised. Tiana safe with her aunt, but not for long if Whitaker's goons sniffed her out. Amara's NCSA training kicked in. Move, hide, strike. She limped toward a payphone, its booth cracked but working, and dialed Marcus. Her deputy, praying he'd answer. "Amara." Marcus's voice crackled, tense. "Where are you?" She glanced around, empty street, no tails yet. "Trouble," she whispered, coding her words. "Lost my ride, need wheels." Marcus caught the hint, no questions. "Stay low, I'm sending a drop." She hung up, heart pounding, and slipped into a storm drain's shadow, waiting. Her mind churned. Whitaker knew she'd walked from jail, rigged her car in hours. Someone inside NCSA was leaking, or his militia had hacked deeper than she'd thought. A van rolled up unmarked, Marcus's driver tossing her a burner phone and keys to a beat-up Civic. She slid in, gunning it toward her last fallback. A rural NCSA stash house 60 miles west, stocked with tech and weapons. She'd hit Whitaker where it hurt, his Sons of Liberty base. The stash house was a sagging barn off a dirt road, cornfields swaying under a noon sun. Amara punched a code into a hidden panel, the door hissing open to a bunker, screens, servers, a rack of rifles. She stitched her cheek with a med kit, wincing, and strapped a 9mm to her hip. Her arm's bandage held, but blood seeped through. Later she'd deal with it. She hacked into NCSA's satellite feed, zeroing on a compound near Dahlonega, 80 miles north, flagged in Boone's emails. Thermal scans showed trucks, crates, men moving, Whitaker's militia arming up. She cross-checked chatter, coded texts about a cleansing at Mount Zion's March, the Black Church's event now 2 days out. Her jaw clenched. Bombs, not just guns. She needed to gut them before they struck. Amara needed a way in, someone to crack the compound without blowing her cover. She tapped a dark web contact, a forger named Rico who'd faked her paralegal ID. "Need militia gear fast," she typed, sending specs, Sons of Liberty patches, boots, a trucker hat. Rico delivered by dusk, a duffel dropped at a gas station. She dressed in the gear, jacket stiff, hat low, her skin crawling at the patches, crossed rifles. Her reflection in the Civic's window looked wrong, a black woman cloaked in Hate's uniform, but it'd get her past the gates. She drove north, stars prickling the sky, the compound's coordinates locked in her burner. Her plan was simple: slip in, plant bugs, get proof of the bombs, and call a federal raid. Whitaker would choke on his own game. The compound loomed past. A pine thicket, floodlights cutting the dark chain link topped with barbed wire. Amara parked a mile out, hiking through brush, her ribs protesting every step. She flashed Rico's fake ID at the gate, grunting a password Boone's emails had mentioned. Liberty rises. The guard, a beefy white man with a buzz cut, nodded, waving her through. Inside, crates stacked high, ammo, C4, grenades, enough to level a block. Men barked orders, their drawls thick, slurs casual as they loaded trucks. She slipped behind a shed, planting microbugs on crates, her burner streaming audio to NCSA's cloud. A voice crackled. Boone, 6'4", scarred lip, boasting, "Church gets it Sunday, judge's orders." Her blood ran hot. She had. Himamara crept out, bugs live, her exit clear. Then a hand clamped her shoulder. "Wrong spot, newbie." a militia thug growled, shoving her toward Boone. She played dumb, mumbling about new orders, but Boone's eyes narrowed. "Check her," he snapped. They patted her down, missing the burner but tearing off her hat. Her braids spilled free, and Boone's grin turned feral. "Well, damn. Whitaker's pet." She bolted, dodging a fist, but a rifle butt cracked. Her knee dropping her. They zip-tied her, laughing. She'd walked into their den thinking she'd won. Boone burned her fake ID, promising a long night. She spat in his dirt, defiance her only shield. She was locked in a shed, wrists raw, but the bugs were still streaming. At dawn she heard sirens, FBI, ATF, a full raid, her NCSA tip sent before they'd grabbed her. Choppers roared, agents swarming, seizing crates as Boone's men scattered. News hit her burner, smuggled back by a bribed guard. Militia bust in Dahlonega, hero tip saves church. Amara grinned, her knee swollen but spirit soaring. The march was safe, Whitaker's name tied to Boone's fall. Agents cut her ties, assuming she was a plant, not knowing her role. She limped free, a chopper dropping her to Atlanta's edge. Social media hailed the anonymous hero, her face still hidden. She texted Tiana, "Home soon, love." Victory tasted sharp, clean. Would you risk it all to stop a massacre? Drop a 1 in the comments if you'd stand with Amara, and hit that like button to honor her fight. Subscribe now. This story's twisting harder. Back home, Amara sank into her couch, bandages fresh, Tiana's sketchbook, salvaged from the vandalism, open beside her. Whitaker's militia was gutted, his name dirt. She sipped tea, picturing his rage as newsreels looped. Her burner pinged, Marcus congratulating her. "You're clear," he said. She smiled, thinking the worst was past. Then her TV flicked. To a new alert, NCSA leak, agent exposed. Her face flashed on screen, a grainy photo from jail, her name bold, Amara Kendall, National Civil Security Head. Her cup slipped, shattering. Marcus's voice came again, not from the phone, live. In her doorway. "Sorry, boss," he said, smirking, white teeth gleaming. He'd sold her out to Whitaker for cash. Her heart stopped as tires screeched outside. A van skidded up, militia goons piling out, rifles glinting. Tiana's scream cut the air. She'd been grabbed from her aunts, now gagged in the van's back. Amara lunged for her gun, but Marcus kicked it away, his betrayal cold as steel. "Whitaker wants a word," he said, nodding to the goons. They seized her, a hood yanked over her. "Head?" Tiana's muffled cries fading as they sped off. The hero's crown was ashes. Whitaker had flipped the game, and her daughter was the price. How far would you go to save your child from hate's grip? Comment a 1 if you feel Amara's pain, and smash that like button to keep her fire alive. Subscribe, we're diving deeper. What will Amara sacrifice to claw Tiana back from Whitaker's hands? Amara Kendall's world shattered as the hood over her head trapped her breath, the van's engine roaring beneath her. Tiana's gagged face burned in her mind, that texted photo, her daughter's eyes wide with terror, searing worse than the cut on her cheek or the ache in her ribs. The militia goons' boots scuffed beside her, their laughter raw, spitting slurs like troublemaker. And worse, each word a jab at her blackness, her power. Marcus's betrayal cut deepest, her deputy, her right hand, selling her NCSA identity to Whitaker for a briefcase of cash. She'd trusted him, his quick nods at briefings, his "we've got this" over late-night calls. Now Tiana paid the price, snatched from her aunts, and Amara was cuffed, helpless, speeding toward Whitaker's endgame. Her fingers twitched, testing the zip ties, but they bit tighter, blood slick on her wrists. She listened, tires on gravel, then asphalt, Atlanta's hum fading. They were headed east, maybe 30 miles out. She memorized every turn, every sound, waiting for a chance. The van lurched to a stop, air heavy with rust and oil. The hood ripped off, and Amara blinked into dim light. An abandoned factory, its ceiling sagging, windows boarded, machines rotting in corners. Tiana sat bound, on a crate, tears streaking her cheeks, her braids loose. Amara lunged, screaming her name, but a goon's fist slammed her gut, doubling her over. She gasped, vision swimming, Tiana's muffled sobs louder than pain. Roland Boone towered nearby, his scarred lip curled, militia patches glinting on his vest. "You stirred the hive," he growled, tossing her burner phone, smashed, useless. 4 goons circled, rifles slung, one chewing tobacco, spitting near her feet. Then Whitaker stepped from the shadows. No judge's robe, just a crisp grey suit. His silver hair slicked back, eyes cold as slate. "Amara Kendall," he said, voice smooth, venomous. "Head of NCSA. Thought you'd hide that forever." Her stomach twisted. He knew everything. Marcus's leak laying her bare. She straightened, ignoring the blood dripping from her wrist, meeting his gaze. "Let her go," she said, voice steel despite the quake inside. Tiana whimpered, shaking her head, but Amara held firm. Whitaker chuckled, pacing, his polished shoes clicking on cracked concrete. "You burned my ledger, shamed me on TV, gutted my compound," he said, counting her strikes like sins. "But you're not untouchable." He nodded to Boone, who yanked a laptop open, its screen showing the ledger photos Amara had sent Lena, proof of his militia cache, now a noose around her neck. "Destroy them," Whitaker said, "or she dies." He pointed at Tiana, a knife, flashing in Boone's hand, inches from her throat. Amara's heart stopped, her daughter's eyes pleading, 16 years of love choking her resolve. She had no play. Her gun was gone, NCSA didn't know her location, and Marcus had burned her bridges. The factory was a fortress, guards at every door, no signal for a Hail Mary call. She nodded, throat dry. "Give me the drive," she said. Boone tossed her a USB, and she plugged it into the laptop, fingers shaking as she wiped the cloud backups. Every scan, every code, years of work. Whitaker wanted the physical ledger too, the one she'd photographed in his office. "It's at my safe house," she lied, buying time, knowing it was ash from a fire she'd set to cover tracks. He smirked, believing her. "Burn it here," he ordered, pointing to a steel drum, flames already licking inside. Amara moved slow, pulling a decoy drive from her pocket. Blank, a prop she'd carried for traps like this. She tossed it in, flames swallowing it, the acrid smoke stinging her eyes. Whitaker watched satisfied, his grin wide as if he'd won a war. Boone cut Tiana's ropes, shoving her toward Amara. She ran, sobbing, crashing into her mother's arms, her weight warm, alive. Amara held her tight, whispering, "You're okay, baby," though her own heart raced, knowing this wasn't the end. Tiana's fingers clung to her jacket, trembling, her breath hitching with fear. Amara kissed her forehead, memorizing her face, praying it wasn't goodbye. She'd burned the evidence, or so Whitaker thought. Her cloud was clean, but her mind held every code, every sum. She'd rebuild, strike harder. Whitaker clapped, slow, mocking. "Family reunion's sweet," he said, stepping closer, his cologne sharp. "But you're not done." Before Amara could pivot, sirens wailed outside. Not militia, not NCSA, but Atlanta PD. Tires screeched, lights flashing through boarded windows, and cops stormed in, vests bulky, guns drawn. "Amara Kendall," the lead shouted, a tall man with a buzz cut, not Carter but close enough to smell like Whitaker's payroll. "You're under arrest for obstructing justice, destroying federal evidence." Her gut plummeted. Boone grinned, tossing the laptop to the cop, its screen frozen on a video. Amara burning the drive recorded by a hidden camera. Whitaker had played her, turning her sacrifice into a trap. Tiana screamed, "No!" as cops yanked Amara's arms, cuffing her again, metal colder than before. She fought, kicking, but a baton cracked her shin, pain flaring white-hot. "Mama!" Tiana cried, held back by a female cop, her face crumpling. Amara locked eyes with her, mouthing, "Stay strong." The lead cop read charges: obstruction, tampering, conspiracy, each a lie built on Whitaker's tape. He'd staged it all, letting Tiana go to bait her compliance, knowing she'd burn the drive to save her. The factory spun, goons slipping, out back doors, Boone vanishing into shadows. Whitaker stood calm, hands in pockets, a spectator to her fall. "Told you," he whispered, close enough for only her to hear. You people don't win. The cops dragged her outside, Tiana's wails fading as they shoved her into a cruiser, its seat sticky with sweat. The factory shrank in the rear view, Whitaker's silhouette framed in the doorway untouchable. Atlanta's streets blurred past, neon signs, honking cars, normal life mocking her cage. At the precinct, they tossed her into a cell. No questions. No lawyer. Her shin throbbed, her arms bandage soaked red, but worse was the news blasting on a guard's radio. NCSA chief exposed, arrested for evidence tampering. Her face was everywhere. TV ex-posts, viral clips of her burning the drive. Protesters who cheered her church save now split. Some called her a traitor, others a scapegoat. Her cover was ash, her name poison. She sank against the cell. While concrete cold through her jumpsuit, replaying Whitaker's game. He'd let Tiana go because he didn't need her. Amara's ruin was enough. The video was airtight, her hands on the drive, flames eating it. No one knew it was blank, her real proof locked in her head. Marcus's betrayal had cracked her foundation, but this, public shame, NCSA's silence, was a blade to her core. Tiana was safe for now, but Whitaker's cops could spin lies about her too. Amara's fist clenched, nails biting her palm. She'd saved her daughter, thought she'd won, a round. But Whitaker had flipped the board, landing her in a deeper hole. Max security, no allies, a nation turning against her. The cell block hummed, guards barking, inmates shouting. A newscaster's voice droned, "Whitaker denies militia ties, calls Kendall a rogue." She laughed, bitter, the sound echoing. He'd burned her life to save his skin and the world bought it. Her NCSA badge, hidden at the safe house, was useless now. Calling Marcus was out, and no agent would touch her with this heat. She traced the cell's cracks, mind racing. Tiana's hug lingered, warm against the cold. She'd claw out, rebuild, expose him. But the radio crackled again. Kendall faces life. Life. The word landed like a boulder, crushing her breath, as boots echoed closer. Amara Kendall slumped against the damp wall of her max security cell, the air sour with mold and sweat. The steel door's slam still echoed, sealing her in Georgia's Stonewall prison, a fortress for the worst, murderers, traffickers, and, now her, framed as a traitor. Her shin throbbed from the cop's baton, her arms bandage crusted with blood from the factory fight, but Tiana's freedom was her anchor. Her daughter was safe with her aunt, far from Whitaker's reach, or so she prayed. The cell was a coffin, 4 concrete walls, a slit window 10 feet up, a toilet that reeked of rust. Her orange jumpsuit chafed, her NCSA cover blown wide open by Marcus's leak, her face plastered on every screen as the rogue agent who'd burned evidence. Whitaker's video, her hands tossing that decoy drive into flames, had turned a nation against her, protests splintering into chaos. She clenched her fists, nails biting her palms, refusing to crack. The guard's boots clomped outside, keys rattling like chains. "Kendall!" he barked, a wiry man with a pockmarked face, his badge reading Grimes. "Chow time! Move!" She stood wincing, her body a map of bruises, ribs, shin, arm, all screaming. The mess hall was a concrete cavern, tables bolted down, women hunched over trays of grey slop. Eyes tracked her, some curious, some venomous. Grimes leaned close, breath hot with tobacco. "Heard you're some NCSA queen," he sneered. "Uppity type, huh?" Whitaker warned us. Her gut twisted. His name was poison, his influence slithering. Through bars. The guards knew her past, twisted it into a slur, her blackness a target painted fresh each day. She grabbed her tray, head high, ignoring the stares, but the weight of their hate pressed harder than cuffs. She sat alone, the slop, untouched, scanning the room. Cliques carved by race, black women at one end, whites at another, Latinas holding the middle. A guard thicker than Grimes watched her from the door, his smirk promising trouble. Then it hit, her tray tipped, soup splashing her lap, burning her thighs through thin fabric. She gasped, standing, as laughter erupted. A white inmate, buzz-cut and tattooed, grinned from 2 tables over. "Oops," she said, voice dripping malice. Amara's jaw tightened, but she sat back, wiping the mess, refusing to bite. The guard didn't move, his eyes glinting. Whitaker's orders, no doubt. Her solitude was a sentence, her pride a fuse they wanted lit. That night, locked in her cell, Amara woke choking, her stomach heaving, bile burning her throat. She stumbled to the toilet, vomiting blood, dark and thick, splattering the steel. Her vision swam, sweat soaking her jumpsuit, the tray's slop flashing in her mind, poisoned, not spilled. She crawled to the door, banging weakly, her voice a rasp. "Help!" No answer, just silence. Then Grimes's laugh through the slot. "Toughen up, Queen," he mocked, walking away. She collapsed, clutching her stomach, pain like knives twisting inside. Whitaker hadn't just locked her up, he'd bought her. Death, slow and cruel. She fought to breathe, counting seconds to stay conscious. 60, 70, 80. Her NCSA training held, survive, adapt, endure. Dawn broke, light creeping through the slit, and she was still alive, shaking but unbroken. The infirmary grudgingly pumped her stomach, a bored doctor muttering about food poisoning. Amara knew better. Cyanide traces, faint but real, a hitman's trick. Back in Genpop, whispers spread. Kendall survived what should have killed her. Respect flickered in a few eyes. Black inmates nodded, one slipping her an extra bread roll. She seized it, weak but scheming. These women were her shot, trapped like her, chewed up by a system Whitaker greased. She talked low at meals, learning names. Keisha locked for a bad check. Marisol caught in a drug sting. Tanya serving 5 for defending her kid. They shared stories, guards skimming commissary, beating stragglers, turning a blind eye to shivs. Amara saw a spark, rage buried but alive. She rallied them in the yard, her voice steady despite her hollow cheeks. "We're not dogs," she said, standing on a bench, guards distracted. "Clean water, real food, no more fists, demand it." Keisha stepped up, then Marisol, then 20 more, black and brown faces fierce, a few whites joining, wary but fed up. They chanted, fists raised, "No more!" The guards scrambled, batons out, but the cameras rolled. Outside, reporters caught wind, tipped by an inmate's cousin. By dusk, news hit. Stonewall prisoners protest abuse, led by framed NCSA chief. Amara's name trended again, clips of her gaunt face outside the factory airing beside jail footage. The warden, sweating, promised reviews. She'd lit a fire. Would you stand with women fighting a broken system? Drop a 1 in the comments if you'd join Amara's chant, and hit that like button to lift her voice. Subscribe now. Her fight's burning hotter. The warden moved fast, transferring Amara to a safer wing, less violence, cleaner cells, a window with an actual view. She sat on her new cot, a real mattress, breathing easier, her stomach healing, though scars lingered inside and out. Keisha smuggled her a note. "We got you." Her chest warmed. She'd built allies, turned a death trap into a stand. Whitaker's poison had failed, his guards on notice. She let herself smile, picturing Tiana watching the news proud. The protest had shifted the board. She wasn't alone anymore. She leaned back, planning her next move. Expose the poison, link it to Whitaker. Climb out. Then a shadow fell across her cell. A suit stood at the bars, not a guard, but Whitaker's lawyer, a slick man with a snake's grin, his briefcase gleaming. "Amara," he said, voice oily, "Judge has an offer." Her pulse spiked, but she sat still, listening. "Name your—" "NCSA agents, locations, ops, all of it, and you walk. Parole, clean slate." She laughed, sharp, spitting on his deal. "Tell Whitaker to choke," she said, waving him off. He shrugged, leaving, but his eyes promised hell. She paced uneasy, the wing too quiet. No chatter, no clanks. Then screams erupted down the hall, boots thundering, glass shattering. A riot, guards shouting, inmates howling, smoke curling under her door. The lawyer's visit wasn't a deal. It was a signal. Grimes's voice cut through, yelling her cell number, and metal scraped. Locks opening, blades glinting, footsteps closing in. How do you fight when the walls themselves turn on you? Comment a 1 if you defy Whitaker's game, and smash that like button to keep Amara's spark alive. Subscribe, we're headed into chaos. Will she outsmart the riot before it swallows her whole? Amara Kendall pressed her back against the cell wall, the riot screams tearing through Stonewall Prison's safer wing, smoke curling under her door like a venomous snake. The air was thick, acrid, choking her lungs as Grimes's voice echoed, barking her cell number to inmates he'd unleashed. Her shin throbbed from the factory baton, her arms bandaged stiff with dried blood. But fear for Tiana, safe with her aunt, she hoped, kept her sharp. Whitaker's lawyer had sparked this chaos, his parole offer a lie to set her up for slaughter. The cell block shook, glass shattering, metal clanging, women shrieking as blades flashed in the haze. Her cot was useless, the mattress too thin to block a shiv. She gripped the screw she'd palmed in solitary, a pitiful weapon, but her NCSA training roared, "Find a way always." Footsteps thudded closer, shadows flickering through the bars, and she knew seconds to move or she was dead. She scanned the cell, 4 walls, a high slit window, a locked door. The vent above the toilet, rusted but wide, was her shot. She climbed, wincing as her ribs protested, and jammed the screw into the grate, prying it loose with a screech. Smoke stung her eyes, her fingers slipping on blood and sweat, but the grate popped free, clattering to the floor. Voices snarled outside. 2 inmates, maybe 3, one growling, "Kendall's mine!" She hoisted herself into the vent, its metal biting her palms, and crawled, elbows scraping, the shaft narrow, air choking with ash. Below, her cell door slammed open, boots stomping, a blade scraping concrete. "Where's she at?" a woman shouted, answered by curses. Amara kept moving, the vent forking left toward the guard station, she prayed. The shaft widened, a faint glow ahead, fluorescent, flickering. She peered through a grate, spotting the station. Monitors smashed, papers burning, but a radio crackled on a desk, unguarded. Her heart leapt. She could call NCSA, Marcus be damned. She kicked the grate out, dropping 10 feet, landing hard on her bad shin, pain flaring like a struck match. The room spun, but she staggered to the radio, twisting dials, static hissing. "Echo 1, this is Sparrow," she whispered. Her old NCSA code, praying someone clean was listening. A voice cut through. Lila, her tech chief, no traitor. "Sparrow, location?" Amara rattled off coordinates, her voice hoarse. "Riot's a hit. Need extraction now." Lila's keys clacked. Backup was 30 minutes out, a chopper inbound. Amara clutched the radio, hope flickering, then froze. Alarms blared, guards regrouping, locking down. She slipped out, smoke thicker, sprinting down a service hall, its walls streaked with soot. Inmates fought guards ahead, batons cracking skulls, blood pooling on tiles. She ducked into a closet, mops, bleach, a fire axe on the wall. She grabbed it, its weight grounding her, and crept toward an exit, flames licking the ceiling. A guard loomed, Grimes, pockmarked, swinging a baton. She swung the axe handle, cracking his knee, dropping him gasping. "Stay down!" she spat. Stealing his keys. The exit was close, a steel door, but shouts trailed her, Whitaker's inmates sniffing her out. She unlocked it, night air hitting her face, cold and sharp. The prison's yard a war zone of fire and fists, a chopper's roar. Split the sky. NCSA's blackbird descending, its spotlight blinding. Amara waved, axe raised, as agents rappelled down, vests marked with her agency's seal. They fired warning shots, scattering rioters, and hauled her aboard, the prison shrinking below, flames eating its core. Lila's voice crackled in her earpiece. "You're clear, boss." Amara collapsed against the seat, her shin bleeding through her jumpsuit, her lungs raw. They dropped her to a safe house, an unmarked cabin in Macon, 90 miles south, stocked with medkits, burners, and servers. She stitched her shin, ate canned soup, and slept 12 hours. Tiana's face, her only dream. Dawn broke. Her body, aching but mind clear, she'd escaped hell. Whitaker's hit a bust. She powered up the safe house's rig, hacking Whitaker's accounts with NCSA's back doors. His emails were sloppy. Orders to Grimes, payoffs to the lawyer, a trail tying him to the riot's spark. She bundled it with prison logs, showing guards bribes, and leaked it to Lena at the Atlanta Beacon. No trace to her name. By noon, the story hit. Judge Whitaker linked to prison riot, guard corruption. Newsreels looped his old courtroom clips, His sneer now a scandal. The governor suspended him. Probes launched, his mansion swarmed by cameras. Amara leaned back, sipping water, a grin breaking through her pain. His robe was gone, his power cracking. She texted Tiana, "I'm okay, love you." The safe house felt like a fortress. She'd struck back, hard. Her burner pinged, Lila checking in. "World's watching, boss, you're a ghost again." Amara exhaled, thinking she'd bought time. Whitaker was bleeding, his name Mud, unable to touch her here. She bandaged her shin, picturing Tiana's smile when they'd reunite. The TV droned, a pundit praising the whistleblower who'd exposed Stonewall. She allowed herself hope, a rare guest. Then the screen flickered, a new alert stealing her breath. Amara Kendall, NCSA traitor, confesses to treason. A deepfake video played, her face, her voice clear as day, admitting to selling secrets, rigging riots, bombing her own car. It aired on every channel, X-posts exploding, hashtags branding her a terrorist. Her safe house walls closed in, her pulse hammering. She'd gutted Whitaker, but he'd rewritten her truth. The deepfake was flawless, her lips moving, eyes blinking, a prison cell backdrop, her jumpsuit pristine. "I betrayed my country," the fake Amara said, voice hers down to the cadence. Protesters who'd rallied for her now burned her name, signs reading, "Traitor Black." Militias jumped in, X accounts doxing her safe house, coordinates circling dark web threads. She smashed the TV, glass crunching, but the video looped in her head. Whitaker hadn't just survived her leak. He'd turned her into America's enemy. Her burner rang, unknown number, a man's rasp. "Run, Kendall!" Headlights flashed outside, trucks rumbling, militia patches glinting in the dusk. She grabbed her 9mm, checked the clip, and bolted for the back door. Woods. Her only shot. Her shin slowed her, blood seeping as boots crashed behind. 5 men, maybe 6, shouting her name like a curse. She dove into pines, branches clawing her face, the safe house's lights fading. Gunshots cracked, bullets chewing bark, her breath ragged but steady. She'd escaped Stonewall's flames, thought she'd buried Whitaker's lies. But this, her, face twisted into treason, militias hunting her as prey, was a blade she hadn't dodged. The woods thickened, her gun heavy, Tiana's voice whispering in her mind, "Stay strong, Mama." Whitaker had flipped the board, and now she ran, AE, ghost in her own life. Amara Kendall sprinted through the Georgia pines, branches snapping across her face, her shin leaking blood through a torn bandage as militia bullets whined past, splintering bark. The Macon safe house burned behind her, its glow fading. Whitaker's, goons shouting her name like a curse. Her 9mm weighed heavy in her hand, clip half empty, her breath ragged but fierce. Tiana's voice, "Stay strong, Mama," kept her moving, though the deep-fake video looped in her mind. Her own face, confessing treason, branding her a terrorist. Whitaker had twisted her truth, turned protesters who'd cheered her into a mob screaming "Traitor Black" on X. Her NCSA cover was ashes, Marcus's betrayal a blade in her back, and now militias hunted her, their trucks roaring closer, headlights slicing the dark. She dove behind a rotted log, heart slamming, knowing one slip meant death. Her shin throbbed, the prison batons bruised, screaming, but she crawled, mud caking her jumpsuit, pine needles stinging her palms. The safe house was compromised. Coordinates, leaked on dark web threads. Her escape from Stonewall's riot wasted. She needed shelter, a reset. A cabin flickered in her memory. An NCSA bolt hole 10 miles east, unmarked, buried in a swamp. She'd stashed gear there last year, burner phones, cash, a laptop. Her fingers gripped the gun, counting shots, 6 left. Trucks growled, maybe a mile back. Dogs barking now, their baying sharp as knives. She pushed up, limping through brambles. The swamp's stink rising, her only map the stars. Tiana was safe with her aunt, but Whitaker's reach grew longer. Her daughter wasn't untouchable. Amara's jaw clenched, rage drowning fear. The cabin emerged past midnight, a sagging shack. Half swallowed by moss, its windows dark. She punched a code into a hidden lock, the door creaking open to a musty room. Cot, desk, a safe bolted to the floor. She collapsed, tearing off her jumpsuit, the fabric stiff with blood and dirt. The safe held bandages, water, a first aid kit. She stitched her shin, gritting her teeth, and wrapped her arms gashed tight. A wig and thrift store clothes, jeans, a flannel, hid her face, her braids tucked under a cap. The laptop hummed to life, NCSA's back doors still hers, though Marcus's leak had locked her out of main channels. She hacked Whitaker's accounts, digging deeper than the prison emails, chasing his puppet strings. A name flashed. Senator. Elaine Proctor, a DC hawk tied to militia funds through a pack he called Freedom's Shield. Her pulse spiked. Proctor had dined with Whitaker, pushed tough-on-crime bills that crushed black towns. Amara cross-checked bank wires. $2 million from Proctor's pack to Whitaker's shell. Liberty Holdings, the same one from the ledger. Chat logs showed them planning. A purge to clean Atlanta, code for targeting black activists. Starting with Mount Zion's march. Whitaker wasn't just a judge, he was Proctor's fist, breaking bones to keep power white. Amara's fingers flew, bundling emails, wires, and a recorded call. Proctor's voice clipped, saying, "Kendall's a problem, enter." She encrypted it, sent it to Congress's ethics board, Lena at the Atlanta Beacon, and a whistleblower site, no trace to her name. This was dynamite, Whitaker's fall, Proctor's ruin. By dawn she'd dyed her skin with stage makeup, darkening scars, passing as a drifter. She hiked to a bus stop, catching a Greyhound to Savannah, 300 miles away, her cap low. News crackled on the driver's radio. Senator Proctor grilled over militia ties, Whitaker implicated. Congress called hearings, ex-posts erupting, our Proctor scandal, Anna Whitaker down. TV screens in a diner showed Proctor dodging cameras, her platinum hair a mess. Whitaker's mansion taped off. Amara sipped coffee, her flannel itching, a grin breaking through. The ethics board froze Proctor's pack, FBI raiding her office. Protesters hit D.C., signs reading "Justice for Kendall," her name a spark again. She leaned back, picturing Tiana watching, proud. Whitaker was cornered, his strings cut. She'd done it from a swamp shack. Would you expose a senator knowing? It'd paint a bigger target? Drop a 1 in the comments if you'd risk it like Amara, and hit that like button to fuel her fight. Subscribe now. This conspiracy's unraveling fast. Her burner buzzed. Lila, her NCSA tech, slipping her a coded update. Hearings live, you're trending. Amara exhaled, the bus rattling past marshes, Savannah's spires near. She'd buried Whitaker's empire, maybe saved Tiana's future. Her shin ached, but hope flickered. She could vanish, rebuild. Then the bus's TV flicked to a braking alert, stealing her breath. Amara Kendall bombs NCSA safe house, wanted for terror. Her face flashed, security cam fake, pinning her for the Macon fire she'd fled. Ex-post screamed, "Black terrorist," wanted posters flooding gas stations, her wig no shield now. The driver glanced back, eyes narrowing. She slouched, heart pounding, but he kept driving. Her laptop showed the damage. Congress called her a rogue, Proctor spinning the leak as Kendall's lies. The FBI flagged her prints, her NCSA team ordered to disavow her. Lila's line went dark. Amara's chest tightened, the bus's hum mocking her. She'd gutted Proctor, shamed Whitaker, but they'd flipped the board, painting her as the bomber. Passengers whispered, phones out, her face viral again. She slipped off at a rest stop, dusk falling, stealing a hoodie from a dumpster to hide her cap. Her gun had 4 shots left, her cash thin. $200, no cards. The swamp cabin was burned, the safe house ash. Nowhere was safe. Headlights flared, a militia truck, Sons of Liberty patches glinting, slowing as it passed. She dove into a ditch, mud soaking her jeans, her shin pulsing like fire. Dogs barked. Closer now, their handlers shouting coordinates, her coordinates. Then a blast shook the earth, a fireball lighting the sky, miles off but close enough to singe her face. Drones buzzed overhead, red lights blinking, bombs dropping on the marsh where she'd planned to hide. Whitaker hadn't just framed her. He'd unleashed a war, his militia and Proctor's cash-buying tech to hunt her. Her NCSA team was silent, her allies gone. She was alone, a ghost in a trap. She crawled, thorns tearing her hands, the drone's hum fading but trucks still circling. Her burner was dead, battery fried. No way to call Lila or warn Tiana. The wanted posters lied. Bomber, traitor. But they worked, turning neighbors into snitches, cops into hunters. She'd thought the hearings were her checkmate, Whitaker's. Name ruined, Proctor's empire cracked. But this, drones bombing, her name a death warrant, was a blow she hadn't braced for. Her gun shook in her grip, Tiana's laugh, her only light. She staggered toward Savannah, a shadow in the reeds, hunted by a nation she'd sworn to protect. How do you run when your own face betrays you? Comment a 1 if you'd keep fighting like Amara, and smash that like button to carry her torch. Subscribe, we're headed into the fire. Can she slip Whitaker's net before the drones lock her down? Amara Kendall crouched in the Savannah reeds, mud sucking at her boots. The drone's fading buzz a ghost in her ears as militia trucks growled in the distance. Her shin bled through its stitches, her flannel soaked with swamp water, her 9mm down to 4 bullets. The wanted posters, black terrorist, her face twisted into a bomber's sneer, had turned Georgia into a kill zone, Whitaker's lies painting her as the enemy. Tiana was safe with her aunt, but the net tightened. Drones. Dogs, vigilantes all hunting her. Her NCSA team had disavowed her, Lila's line dead, Proctor's resignation a hollow win against this storm. She needed an edge, someone outside Whitaker's reach. Her burner was fried, but a name flickered. Jamal Carter, a rogue hacker she'd met on a cartel bust, unafraid of power. She'd risk it or die running. Savannah's outskirts loomed, a sprawl of pawn shops and neon flickering through dusk. Amara limped, her cap low, hoodie shadowing her face, the wig itching her scalp. Her shin pulsed, each step a stab. But she, pushed to a payphone, its glass scratched, coins rattling from her stolen cash, $80 left. Jamal's dark web drop answered on the third ring, his voice a rasp. "Who's this?" She coded it quick. "Sparrow needs a nest." He paused, then, "Old pier, midnight." She hung up, breath shaky, and hobbled to the waterfront, warehouses looming like tombs, the air thick with salt and rot. Her gun stayed close, her eyes scanning. Militia could be anywhere, her face a bounty now. The pier was a skeleton of planks, waves lapping black beneath, moonlight glinting off rusted cranes. Jamal waited, lean and wiry, his dreads tied back, a laptop glowing under his arm. His brown eyes flicked over her, stitches, limp, hunted vibe. "You're hot," he said, no greeting. "Deepfake's viral, NCSA's cut you loose." She nodded, leaning on a pylon, pain gnawing her leg. "Whitaker's work," she said, voice low. "Need you to kill it, clear me." Jamal smirked. Popping the laptop open, fingers dancing. "Militia's got cash, but I've got code, gimme proof." She rattled off Proctor's pack wires, Whitaker's emails, the drone strike. Enough to trace the fake. He whistled, impressed, and hacked live, pulling the deepfake source, a server in Boone's compound, sloppy encryption. Jamal worked fast, sweat beading his brow, the pier creaking under their weight. He cracked the video's metadata, timestamps, IP trails, proving it was forged, Whitaker's fingerprints all over it. "Gonna need a platform," he said, rigging a livestream from a ghost account, no trace to them. Amara watched, heart pounding, as he uploaded, a raw feed, her real voice overlaying the fake, debunking it line by line. "This ain't me," she said into his mic, hoarse but fierce. "Whitaker's a liar. Proctor's his bank. Look at the data." Jamal hit send, the stream blasting to X news sites, every corner of the net. Views spiked, 10,000, 50, 100 in minutes. Her face, real, scarred, defiant, replaced the traitor's mask. By dawn, the tide turned. X posts flipped. Amara truth, Ixi Whitaker lies trending, networks retracting the deepfake, pundits stammering apologies. Protesters hit Atlanta's streets, signs reading "Free Kendall," her name a rallying cry again. Jamal grinned, slamming the laptop shut. "You're back, Sparrow." Amara exhaled, her shin throbbing but spirit lifting. She'd clawed. Her truth from the mud. Networks ran the stream on loop. Congress reopening Proctor's case. FBI backtracking her terror tag. She pictured Tiana watching, fist raised. Jamal tossed her a burner, fresh, saying, "Lay low, we're gold." She nodded, hope flickering. She turned the board. Whitaker's lie gutted. Would a hacker's gamble save your life? Drop a 1 in the comments if you'd trust Jamal's code, and hit that like button to cheer Amara's comeback. Subscribe. Now this fight's far from over. Her relief lasted hours. She hid in a motel 3 miles from the pier, its neon buzzing, curtains drawn. The TV blared. Proctor's Senate allies spinning her as a rogue threat. But the stream held, viewers climbing to millions. She patched her shin, ate stale chips, her gun beside her. Then a new alert froze her blood. National threat. Declared Amara Kendall targeted. Proctor's voice aired, Liv from DC, her platinum hair gleaming. "Kendall's a danger, armed and unstable," she lied, eyes cold. Amara's gut sank. Proctor had flipped the script, using her clearance, to lock her out. The motel's clerk glanced at her, uneasy, reaching for a phone. Her burner rang. Jamal, voice tight. "They hit me, I'm down." A gunshot cracked through the line, then silence. She dropped the phone, hands shaking. Whitaker's goons, or Proctor's, had found him, his blood on her call. Sirens wailed outside, tires screeching. The motel's lot flooding with militia trucks, Sons of Liberty patches glinting, rifles cocked. She grabbed her gun, 4 shots left, and peeked. 10 men, maybe 12, fanning out, boots crunching gravel. "Kendall!" one shouted, voice thick with hate. "Come out or we burn it." A bullet shattered her window, glass slicing her cheek, blood warm on her neck. She dove, crawling to the bathroom, her shins screaming, locking the door. They fired again, bullets punching drywall. The clerk's scream cut short, a silenced shot, his body thumping. Amara kicked the bathroom vent, its grate loose, and squeezed. Through her frame, scraping metal. Landing in a back alley, trash bins her shield. Her gun shook, 3 shots now. She'd fired one to slow them, clipping a goon's arm. The motel blazed behind her, flames licking the roof, smoke choking the sky. She ran, limping, alleys twisting, her breath a rasp. Militia shouts trailed. Dogs. Barking, engines revving. She dove into a dumpster, its stink cloaking her, and waited, heart hammering, their boots passing inches away. The alley quieted, flames crackling in the distance, her cheek bleeding, shin pulsing. She climbed out, staggering to a sewer grate, prying it open with raw hands, and dropped in. The tunnel's damp swallowing her. Her boots splashed, rats scurrying, her gun down to 3 bullets, her cash gone in the vent. Jamal's death hit hard. His dreads, his smirk, gone because she'd leaned on him. The stream had cleared her name, turned the tide, made her a hero again. She'd thought Proctor's lie was dead, Whitaker's grip slipping. But this, Jamal shot, motel torched, militia hunting, was a blow that broke her spine. She crawled. Sewer slime coating her, Tiana's face her only star whispering, "I'm coming, baby." Amara Kendall crawled through Savannah's sewers, the slime coating her flannel. Her shin a throbbing mess of blood and stitches, her cheek stinging from the motel's glass shard. Her 9mm clung to her hand, 3 bullets left, the tunnel's damp swallowing her gasps as rats skittered past. Jamal's gunshot death, his raspy "I'm down" cut by silence, echoed louder than the militia's bullets, his blood a weight she'd carry. Tiana was safe with her aunt, but Whitaker's net tightened. Proctor's national threat lay turning cops and vigilantes into hunters. The motel siege had stripped her bare. No cash, no burner, just a gun and a will to fight. She needed leverage, a strike to gut Whitaker's core. His mansion loomed in her mind, Atlanta's elite sprawl, 40 miles north, a vault of his secrets. She'd break in or die trying. The sewer spat her out near a storm drain, dawn's grey light filtering through grates, the city waking above. Her leg buckled, but she stood, mud caking her boots, hoodie torn from thorns. She stole a bike from a backyard, its chain rusty, and pedaled north. Savannah's marshes fading into suburbs, then highways. Her shin bled through the bandage, soaking her jeans, but pain was noise. She tuned it out, NCSA training locking her focus. Atlanta's skyline rose, skyscrapers glinting, Whitaker's mansion a pinprick in her mental map. Buckhead, gated, guarded, but not airtight. She ditched the bike at a gas station 20 miles out, washing her face in a sink, the mirror showing a ghost. Hollow eyes, scarred cheek, wig askew. She tightened it, stole a janitor's cap, and hitched a ride with a trucker, his radio blaring Proctor's Senate rants, oblivious to her face. The truck dropped her at Buckhead's edge, dusk settling, mansions glowing behind iron fences. Whitaker's stood out, white columns, sprawling lawn, a fortress of privilege. She scoped it from a thicket, thorns pricking her hands, 2 guards at the gate, cameras sweeping, dogs kennelled but quiet. Her shin pulsed, her body begging rest, but Tiana's laugh drove her. She waited, night deepening, stars cloaked by clouds. At midnight, a guard lit a cigarette, the other checking his phone, sloppy. She crept to a side wall, scaling it with raw fingers, her stitches tearing, blood dripping as she dropped to the lawn, rolling into shadows. The mansion loomed, windows dark but one. A study, light flickering. Whitaker was home. She picked the back door's lock with a wire from the janitor's cap, her hands steady despite the ache. Inside the air was cool, thick with polish and old money. Marble floors, oil paintings, a chandelier dripping crystals. She moved silent, gun ready, her boots leaving faint mud prints. The study was upstairs, second door left, its oak frame cracked open. She slipped in, heart pounding. Bookshelves, a desk piled with files, a laptop humming. Whitaker slept elsewhere, his snores faint through walls. She rifled the desk, bank statements, militia rosters, a photo of him and Proctor, smug at a gala, then jackpot. A hard drive labeled SOL contingency tucked in a drawer. She plugged it into the laptop, her pulse racing, files loaded, encrypted but familiar, NCSA-grade locks she could crack. The drive spilled secrets, 2 million. From Proctor's pack, funneled through Liberty Holdings, matched to Sons of Liberty bomb plans, Mount Zion still the target despite the Dahlonega bust. Whitaker's emails bragged to Boone, Kendall's a fly, swat her, church burns next. Her stomach churned, but she dug deeper, a ledger mirroring the one she'd burned, linking Proctor's Senate votes to militia cash, a bribe trail to D.C. She copied it all, her burner dead, but the laptop's Wi-Fi live. She hacked a proxy, sent it to Lena at the Atlanta Beacon, the ethics board, and a dark web drop, triple blast, no trace. This was dynamite, Whitaker's empire, Proctor's career, torched. She wiped her prints, grinning through pain, the upload ticking to 100%. Footsteps creaked. Whitaker, robe loose, shuffling toward the study, a glass of bourbon in hand. Amara dove under the desk, her shin screaming, gun gripped tight. He entered muttering, damn alert, and sat, his chair inches from her face, bourbon sloshing. He clicked the laptop, news of Proctor's probe, his suspension, cursing. Her name. Kendall's dead soon, he growled, oblivious to her breath beneath him. He stood staggering out, and she slipped free, the hard drive in her pocket, adrenaline spiking. She hit a safe house 10 miles west, an NCSA shack stocked with bandages, food, collapsing on a cot, uploading backups to a cloud only she knew. By dawn, Lena's story hit. Whitaker funded Proctor's campaign with militia cash. The senator resigned, indicted, Whitaker's name mud. Amara slept, victorious, her shin patched, thinking Tiana was safe. Her burner buzzed. Lila coded, "You did it." She smiled, picturing Whitaker's rage, his mansion swarmed by feds. TV confirmed it. Indictments, raids, Proctor's platinum hair bowed in cuffs. Amara ate canned peaches, her first meal. In days, relief washing her. She'd flipped the board, gutted them from a sewer's edge. Then a scream shattered her peace, not hers, but Tiana's, crackling through the safe house radio, live news cutting in. Atlanta school locked down. Militia hostages. Her daughter's face flashed, terrified, among kids huddled in a gym. Whitaker's goons circling, rifles glinting. The anchor stammered, demands. Kendall surrenders. Amara's peach fell, juice pooling, her gut ice. Whitaker's voice hissed on a burner she hadn't heard ring. Your kind never wins. The screen showed Tiana, braids swinging, her eyes searching. 16. Caught in a war Amara had sparked. The safe house spun, her shin forgotten, gun shaking, in her hand. Whitaker's goons had hit Carver High, 300 kids inside, a revenge strike for Proctor's fall. "Surrender by noon," the anchor read, "or they start shooting." Amara's breath caught, the clock ticking. 2 hours. She'd exposed the ledger, thought she'd won, saved Mount Zion, ruined Whitaker's name. Her NCSA badge hidden here was useless. Calling Lila risked leaks, and feds wouldn't storm fast enough. She stood, 3 bullets left, Tiana's scream looping in her skull. Whitaker had lost his empire but kept his hate, flipping her victory into a slaughter. She paced, the safe house's wood creaking, her mind racing. Surrender meant death, but Tiana's life hung on it. The hard drive burned in her pocket, proof of Whitaker's rot, but useless against rifles. TV showed cops circling the school, snipers on roofs, parents wailing behind tape. Her daughter's gym teacher pleaded on air, "They want her mom." Amara's fist slammed the wall, plaster cracking. She'd buried Whitaker's cash, his power, thought she'd shielded Tiana. But this, hostages, her child's life as bait, was a blow she couldn't dodge. She grabbed her gun, checked the P. Clip and bolted, the safe house door slamming. Atlanta's streets her battlefield now. Amara Kendall raced through Atlanta's streets, her shin a pulsing wound, her flannel drenched with sweat as Carver High's lockdown loomed ahead, sirens wailing in the humid air. Tiana's scream from the live news, her daughters terrified. Face among 300 kids, burned hotter than the 3 bullets left in her 9mm. Whitaker's goons had turned the school into a cage, their rifles glinting on TV, demanding her surrender by noon or blood would spill. Her safe house victory, Proctor's indictment, Whitaker's name trashed, was ash now, his voice on the burner mocking, "Your kind never wins." She'd exposed his empire, thought Tiana was safe, but this was his checkmate, her child as bait. Her fight flipped into despair. She ditched the stolen bike 2 miles out, limping through alleys, her cap low, the clock ticking, 90 minutes to decide. The school sat in East Atlanta, a red brick sprawl ringed by cop cars, their lights pulsing red and blue, snipers perched on rooftops, parents sobbing behind yellow tape. Amara crouched in a vacant lot, 50 yards off, her shin bleeding through stitches, her cheeks glass cut oozing. TV crews swarmed, choppers buzzing, the gym's windows dark but alive with shadows, kids huddled, goons pacing. Her burner was dead. NCSA silent, Lila unreachable, feds too slow. The hard drive in her pocket, Whitaker's ledger, Proctor's cash, meant nothing against rifles. She scanned the scene. 8 militia visible, vests patched with Sons of Liberty, 2 at the main door, 6 inside. Her gun shook, 3 shots no match for their firepower, but Tiana's braids flashed on a newsfeed, her eyes searching. Amara's jaw clenched. She'd trade herself, no choice. She stood, hands up, and stepped into the open, her limp stark under floodlights. "I'm here," she shouted, voice raw, dropping her gun, its clatter loud on asphalt. Cops froze, snipers tracking, a megaphone crackling. "Identify!" She ripped off her cap, wig tumbling, braids spilling free. "Amara Kendall," she said, staring at the gym. "They want me, let the kids go." The crowd gasped, cameras zooming, parents screaming her name, some in rage, some in hope. A goon at the door, buzz-cut and scarred, smirked, waving her. "Showers, move slow," he barked, rifle steady. She walked, shins screaming, hands high, her heart pounding Tiana's rhythm. 16 years of love, now a bargaining chip. The gym door creaked open, the air inside thick with fear, sweat, whispers. Kids curled on bleachers, 300 pairs of eyes wide. Tiana sat near the front, zip-tied, her face lighting when she saw Amara. "Mama!" she choked, muffled by a gag. Amara's knees buckled, but she stood tall, 8 goons circling, their boots scuffing the waxed floor. The leader, tall, pockmarked, a militia patch on his chest, grinned, shoving her forward. "Whitaker's prize," he said, voice gravelly, yanking her arms back, zip ties biting her wrists. She winced, blood trickling from her shin, but locked eyes with Tiana, mouthing, "I've got you." The leader laughed, kicking her gun away, its slide scraping wood. "Kids stay till he says," he spat, nodding to a radio crackling with Whitaker's voice. Cops pounded outside, useless, stalling, their megaphones begging for talks. Amara scanned. 6 goons with rifles, 2 with pistols, exits blocked, windows barred. She'd surrendered, thought compliance would free Tiana, but Whitaker's game was deeper. The leader zip-tied her to a pole, her back scraping metal, and beat her, fists to her gut, her ribs cracking anew, blood flooding her mouth. "Traitor bitch," he snarled, each punch a slur, her blackness his target. Tiana sobbed, kids screaming, teachers pleading, but Amara took it, eyes on her daughter, her silence a shield. Her shins blood pooled, her vision blurring, but she slipped a jagged nail file from her sleeve, a scrap from the safe house palmed for this. She sawed slow, the ties fraying, her wrists raw. The leader turned, barking orders. 2 goons dragged kids to the front, rifles up, a show for the cameras outside. Amara's ties snapped, her hands free, and she lunged, tackling him, her file, stabbing his thigh, blood spurting. He roared, dropping his rifle, and she grabbed it, firing 2 shots, 2 goons down, their pistols clattering. Chaos erupted, kids ducking, goons swinging, her 3rd shot grazing a shoulder, ammo gone. She dove for a pistol, rolling, her shin a firestorm, and fired twice more. 1 dead, 1 wounded, 4 left. Tiana screamed, "Mama, behind!" Amara spun, pistol whipping a goon's jaw, his teeth spraying, but a rifle butt cracked her skull, stars bursting, blood dripping down her neck. She fell, gun slipping. The leader back up, limping, his thigh gushing but rage fiercer. "Hold her!" he yelled, zip-tying her again, tighter, her wrists bleeding. He grabbed a phone, live-streaming, her face, battered, defiant, broadcast to the world. "Amara Kendall confesses," he forced, jamming a knife to her throat, her blood beading on steel. "Say it, traitor, bomber, all of it." She spat in his eye, choking, "You're done." He roared, slicing her shoulder, pain searing. But sirens blared. NCSA choppers, not cops, rotors thumping, glass shattering as agents crashed in, vests gleaming, rifles barking. The leader froze, knife dropping, goons scattering, bullets cutting them down. 4 dead in seconds, blood pooling on the gym floor. Amara slumped, vision fading, Tiana's ties cut by an agent, her daughter running, sobbing, crashing into her. Arms. "Mama, you're okay," she cried, warm, alive, her braids brushing Amara's face. Agents secured the gym, kids flooding out, parents rushing in, chaos softening to relief. Whitaker's voice crackled on the dropped radio, faint, cursing, cut off. The live stream ended. The leader cuffed, bleeding, his phone smashed. Amara hugged Tiana, her ribs broken, shoulder gashed, but alive. She'd saved them, cleared her. Name again. Agents saluted, Lila's voice in her earpiece. "We've got you, Sparrow." She grinned, faint, thinking Whitaker was finished, his goons dead or caught. Tiana safe. The school emptied, medics patching her shoulder, her shin a mess but holding. TV crews swarmed outside, feds praising NCSA's rogue hero, her face trending. Kendall saves trending over traitor black. She leaned on Tiana, limping to an ambulance, the hard drive still in her pocket. Whitaker's empire ash. She'd flipped his game, thought it was over. Proctor gone, his militia gutted. Then a newscaster's voice cut through, sharp as a blade. "Atlanta bomb threat. Downtown evacuated." Her gut sank. Live feed showed panic, streets gridlocked, a timer on X ticking. 90 minutes. "Kendall's fault!" Post screamed. Whitaker's final play. A dirty bomb, his vengeance from a cell or a hideout, her victory snatched again. She stood, shoving medics off, Tiana clutching her hand, her shoulder dripping red. The choppers lifted, agents scrambling, but the timer ticked. 88 minutes now. She'd saved the school, thought she'd buried Whitaker's hate, protected Tiana with her blood. But this, downtown rigged to blow her name the scapegoat, was a strike she couldn't outrun. Her gun was gone, bullets spent, her body broken, but she moved, Tiana beside her, the city's pulse racing with hers. Whitaker had lost his throne, his pawns, but kept his venom, flipping her sacrifice into slaughter. Amara Kendall staggered through Atlanta's chaos, Tiana clutching her hand, her shoulder dripping blood from the school siege, her shin a shredded mess as downtown's evacuation sirens shrieked. The bomb threat, 90 minutes ticking on X. Whitaker's dirty bomb rigged to frame her, turned streets into a snarl of panic, cars honking, people fleeing, her name cursed as terrorist again. Her 9mm was gone, bullets spent saving Tiana, her body broken but fueled by rage. Whitaker had escaped the NCSA raid, his goons dead, his empire ash, Proctor indicted, militia gutted. But this was his last venom, a city's death, to bury her. She tracked him to a skyscraper, 40 floors of glass and steel, the timer at 70 minutes, NCSA choppers circling but blind. She'd end him, or die with Tiana trying. They slipped past cops, her cap low, Tiana's braids tucked. In a stolen jacket, the tower's lobby a ghost town, guards fled. Amara hacked an elevator panel, NCSA trick still sharp, riding to the roof, her shoulder throbbing, blood soaking her sleeve. Whitaker waited, a sniper at his side, rifle trained, his suit crisp despite the chaos. Kendall, he sneered. Silver hair wild, a detonator in hand, the bomb's hum pulsing from a crate. Your kind's done. She lunged, dodging a bullet, her fist cracking his jaw, teeth flying, Tiana screaming, "Mama, watch out!" The sniper fired again, grazing her hip, pain flaring, but she tackled Whitaker, pinning him, his bourbon breath choking her. He laughed, bloodied, kicking free, the detonator skittering. "You mocked me in court," he spat. "Ruined me!" "Now, Atlanta pays." She dove for it, her hip bleeding, fingers brushing plastic as the sniper swung. Amara rolled, grabbing his rifle, smashing his skull, blood splattering glass. Whitaker lunged, knife out, slicing her arm, but she twisted, slamming him down, her knee on his chest. "Why me?" she roared, ripping a phone from his pocket, hitting record. He grinned, feral. "A black woman running NCSA? Too much power, had to break you." Her blood boiled, the livestream beaming his confession, his racist crusade targeting her from that first fine, hating her strength. X lit up. Whitaker exposed, trending, his face viral, silent now. The timer blinked. 10 minutes. Amara shoved him aside, Tiana sobbing, "Hurry!" She pried the crate, wires tangled, a dirty bomb pulsing radiation, her hands shaking, NCSA bomb training fuzzy through pain. Whitaker laughed. Too late. But she cut a blue wire, then red, sweat blinding. Her the clock at 5 seconds. A beep, silence. The bomb died, Atlanta safe, her breath ragged, Tiana hugging her, warm, alive. Cops swarmed, cuffing Whitaker, his confession looping. Courts, feds, the world watching, his hate laid bare. Amara collapsed, medics rushing. Tiana's "I love you," her lifeline, her shoulder patched, hip bandaged, shin braced. Days later she sat in a hospital, Tiana beside her, news praising Kendall's sacrifice. Whitaker faced life, his allies crumbling, Proctor's network raided, Sons of Liberty done. Her name cleared, NCSA reinstated her, Lila saluting via call. She grinned, scars aching, justice sharp, but a leaked memo hit her screen, slipped from D. A dark web drop. "Whitaker's cell leads to bigger fish watching you." Her smile faded, Tiana's hand tightening, the room cold. She'd won, exposed his root, but the shadow lingered. Racism's hydra, head still alive, her fight unfinished. Amara Kendall's journey reveals the brutal reality of systemic racism and the resilience required to combat it. Her story teaches that prejudice isn't just personal, it's a machine, fueled by power, twisting justice into a weapon against the marginalized. From a judge's casual mockery to a city-threatening bomb, Whitaker's racist vendetta shows how deeply hate can embed itself in institutions, manipulating law, media, and even allies like Marcus to crush a black woman daring to rise. Amara's fight underscores the cost of defiance, bruised ribs, a hunted life, Tiana's terror, but also its necessity. She didn't just survive, she exposed a network, proving one voice can crack a corrupt empire, even if the scars linger. Another lesson is the fragility of victory against such odds. Each time Amara thought she'd won, ledger leaked, militia busted, confession aired, Whitaker flipped the game, escalating from slurs to slaughter. It's a stark reminder that racism doesn't die quietly. It morphs, striking harder when cornered. Her cunning, hacking, disguises, rallying inmates, shows intelligence and grit can outmaneuver power, but the memo's shadow warns the battle's never fully won. Finally, love's strength shines through. Tiana was Amara's fuel, pushing. Her past breaking points. What would you sacrifice to protect your own? Comment a 1 if you'd fight like her. Hit like to honor her stand. Subscribe for more truths, and share to spread her fire. Thanks for joining this raw ride. May justice light your path.